what if I told you that the single greatest thing you could do for your success or your company's success is actually to stop competing?
Hmm. It sounds counterintuitive, right?
Totally. We're always told success means beating rivals, fighting for market share, thriving in that hyper-competitive environment.
But the sources we're diving into today argue pretty strongly that competition is, well, actually a destructive, distracting force that can be deadly to your long-term profits.
Okay.
That's the really contrarian core of this deep dive. It's whole philosophy for building enduring value by kind of escaping that accepted wisdom.
Right.
We're looking at material design to help you differentiate, really, between progress that just scales existing stuff and progress that fundamentally innovates, creates something new.
Okay, let's unpack that innovation distinction then, because it sounds pretty critical. You mentioned two types.
Yeah. So most progress we see is what the sources call horizontal progress. Think of it as going from 1 to n.
1 to n, meaning?
Meaning copying something that already works and just making more of it, scaling it up. Like globalization is a key example. You take an efficient factory process from one place and you replicate it in dozens of other countries.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. It's important, but maybe not revolutionary.
Exactly. It's important, but it's, relatively speaking, the easier path. Then you have vertical progress. That's the difficult leap, going from 0 to 1.
0 to 1. Okay.
This means creating something genuinely new, an invention, something that, well, just didn't exist before.
So, like, if you go from having one word processor to making 10,000 of them, that's horizontal.
Precisely. That's 1 to n. But going from, say, a typewriter to inventing the very first word processor.
Ah, okay, that's 0 to 1.
That's 0 to 1. And the argument is that the future, like true technological leaps forward, they depend entirely on those hard 0 to 1 innovations.
And there's a kind of acid test for this thinking, isn't there? A question the sources mention asking job candidates?
Right, the contrarian question. What important truth do very few people agree with you on?
And the key is important truth, and very few people agree.
Exactly. If your answer is something like, oh, cloud computing is the future, well, that's not really a contrarian truth anymore, is it? Everyone basically agrees.
So you need something that genuinely challenges a widespread belief.
Yes. And the sources argue that maybe the most important and certainly the most uncomfortable contrarian truth in modern business is this. Competition is actively destructive to accumulating capital.
Wait a second. Isn't competition supposed to be like the engine of capitalism? Doesn't it drive efficiency, keep prices low for consumers? Saying competition is bad sounds almost anti-capitalist.
It does sound that way on the surface, yeah. But let's look at the actual financial reality. First, what is capitalism fundamentally about?
Well, accumulating capital, right? Growing wealth.
Exactly. It's premised on the accumulation of capital.
Yeah.
But here's the rub. Under conditions of perfect competition, theoretically, all profits get competed away over time. The intense rivalry just drives prices down towards the cost of production, leaving very little, or sometimes nothing, for the companies themselves.
Okay, theory's one thing. Do we have hard data to back that up, like a real-world example?
Oh, absolutely. Look at the U.S. airline industry. Hugely important, right?
Yeah.
They serve millions of people every year, create hundreds of billions in value for customers, and they are fiercely competitive.
Definitely. Price wars all the time.
Right. So back in 2012, after flying all those millions of passengers, moving people all over the country, guess how much profit the entire industry made combined per passenger trip?
I don't know. A few dollars, $10, 37 cents. 37 cents per passenger. That's wow.
Astonishingly low, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a multi-billion-dollar industry providing a crucial service. It's basically a textbook example of a competitive market just decimating profit capture.
Okay, that's a stark picture. So what's the contrast?
Well, compare that to Google in the same year, 2012. Google actually generated less total revenue than the entire airline industry. But they operate in a very different market structure. They captured 21% of their $50 billion in revenue as pure profit. 21% versus practically zero for the airlines.
Huge difference.
And the result, Google, just one company, was valued at more than every single U.S. airline combined.
Wow. Okay, so the lesson is?
The brutal lesson, according to these sources, is that the condition of every truly successful business one that captures lasting value for itself, not just for customers, is monopoly.
Monopoly. That's a strong word, and a politically charged one.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Which leads to this kind of weird world of, well, lies, basically, deception. If monopoly is the goal, but you can't really admit it publicly or politically.
And both sides have to sort of fudge the truth about their situation.
Precisely. Monopolists lie by downplaying their dominance. They exaggerate their competition. So Google, for instance, won't frame itself as the overwhelmingly dominant search engine, which it is. Instead, they'll say, oh, we're just a small player in the enormous, $495 billion global advertising market. They list competitors like TV, radio, newspapers, anything to look less like a monopoly and avoid scrutiny.
Okay, so they broaden the market definition to look smaller.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, the company's stuck in fierce competition. They tell the opposite lie. They exaggerate their uniqueness, especially to investors or potential buyers.
Ah, right. Like that example you mentioned earlier, the British food place.
Yeah, the sources give this great, almost funny example of a British food restaurant in Palo Alto. To claim market dominance, they define their market incredibly narrowly. We are the leading provider of British food in Palo Alto.
Palo Alto.
Right.
Conveniently ignoring.
Conveniently ignoring the thousands of other restaurants, the actual hyper-competitive food market right there in Silicon Valley. It's all about framing.
So this drive to compete, it's not just financially inefficient, it's also psychologically damaging. It makes companies act weirdly.
It does. The sources liken it to war, a destructive force. Think about those famous rivalries.
Like the Shakespearean conflict example, Microsoft versus Google, Montague and Capulet.
Exactly. They spent decades locked in this bitter fight over search, over browsers, operating systems, constantly trying to counter each other's moves.
Obsessed with the enemy.
Totally obsessed. And while they were busy fighting each other, who snuck past both of them and basically defined the entire mobile future?
Apple.
Apple. It shows that war is costly. It distracts you from actually creating the next big thing.
And it can get even more ridiculous, right? Like that mobile card reader example,
Wow.
shape war.
Yeah, Square comes out with their reader, then Intuit copies it, then PayPal jumps in. They were spending precious time and engineering resources literally competing over whether their little plastic payment dongle should be a square or a triangle or whatever.
Instead of focusing on, I don't know, better service, new features, actual innovation.
Precisely. Competition forces you to focus on the rivals, on copying, on slight differentiation, instead of focusing on the customer, or, more importantly, on truly novel creation. That obsession seems like, well, it suggests a lack of confidence, doesn't it? Which ties right into the next point.
Yeah, that obsession with rivals,
Yeah.
it feels defensive. And you're saying it wasn't just egos rooted in something deeper, like a collective trauma.
Exactly. Specifically, the trauma of the dot-com crash. Remember when the NASDAQ Q collapsed? It went from over 5,000 in March 2000 down to, what, just over 1,100 by October 2002?
Well, yeah, brutal time for tech. Lots of companies wiped out.
Wiped out. And that collective scarring led the tech world, especially Silicon Valley, to adopt these 4 sort of defensive dogmas. They became the conventional wisdom for survival.
Okay, what were they? The post-crash rules.
Rule number 1, make only incremental advances. Avoid grand visions. Big ideas were seen as reckless, the kind of hubris that led to the bubble.
Right, keep it small, keep it safe.
Rule number 2, stay lean and flexible. This meant prizing unplanned, almost agnostic experimentation over having a detailed long-term plan. Plans were seen as too rigid.
Okay, adaptability over strategy. Makes sense as a reaction.
Rule 3, improve on the competition. Don't try to create entirely new markets. Just find an existing market with customers and offer something slightly better. Less risk.
Focus on existing customers, existing needs.
And rule number 4, and this was a big one, focus only on product, not sales. The idea was that viral growth was the only sustainable growth. If your product was good enough, it would just spread by itself. Sales and marketing were seen as, kind of dirty words, wasteful relics of the bubble.
Yeah, I can see how if you just lived through that crash, those rules would sound like really prudent risk management. Smart, even.
They sound prudent if your goal is just survival, maybe. But if your goal is 0 to 1, creating something truly new and transformative, the sources argue those are precisely the wrong principles to follow.
So what are the contrarian principles needed for 0 to 1 success? The opposite, basically.
Pretty much the exact opposite. First, it is better to risk boldness than triviality. You have to go for the grand vision, even if it seems risky. Small ideas don't change the world.
Okay. Embrace boldness. What else?
Second, a bad plan is better than no plan. You can't just wander around experimenting. You need to actually design the future you want to build. Have a strategy, even if you have to adapt it later.
Right. Definite plans over indefinite flexibility. Third,
Third, the point we just covered, Competitive markets destroy profits. Don't improve on the competition. Avoid it entirely. Create your own unique space where you can, ideally, become a monopoly.
Seek monopoly, don't fight in the crowd. And the last one, countering the product-only dogma.
And finally, number 4, sales matters just as much as product, maybe even more sometimes. Distribution, marketing, having a strategy to actually get your product into customers' hands. It's absolutely crucial. You can't just build it and hope they come. Relying on pure virality is often just wishful thinking.
Okay, so let's say we've embraced boldness, we're aiming for monopoly, we have a plan, and we respect sales. The next challenge is making it last, right? Endurance.
Endurance is key because a company's true value, fundamentally, isn't about its revenue today. It's all about its ability to generate cash flows, profits, far into the future.
Future cash flows. That makes sense. Investors value future earnings potential.
Exactly. And the time horizon can be surprisingly long. The sources looked at PayPal's valuation way back in 2001, and they calculated that a staggering 75% of its value at that time was based on profits they were expected to earn 10 years later or more so, 2011 and beyond.
75%. Wow. That really underscores why just looking at current growth or current profits can be misleading.
Totally misleading. Durability is paramount. Think about some companies that had meteoric rises, like Zynga or Groupon. Insanely fast growth early on.
Oh, yeah. Huge buzz.
Huge buzz, massive user numbers initially. But that rapid growth masked some really severe long-term durability problems. The moats weren't deep enough. They weren't built to last.
So the goal isn't just to be the first mover in a market.
No, the goal ideally is to be the last mover, to make the final great development in a specific market and then enjoy those durable monopoly profits for decades to come.
Last mover advantage. Okay. So how do you build that kind of durable monopoly? The sources identify 4 key characteristics, right? Qualitative things.
That's right. 4 things you generally need in combination. Number 1 is proprietary technology, something unique that you own and others can't easily copy.
Okay. But it can't just be slightly better, can it? There's a threshold.
Yes, a crucial threshold. It needs to be at least 10 times better than its closest substitute on some key dimension, like speed or efficiency or cost.
10 times, why so much?
Because anything less, say 10 or 20% better, often isn't enough to overcome the inertia, the switching costs, the comfort people have with existing solutions. 10 times better makes it almost a no-brainer to switch. It signals a quantum leap.
Okay, give me an example of 10x.
Amazon, initially, they offered maybe 10 times more books than any physical bookstore could possibly stock. PayPal made online payments maybe 10 times faster and easier than mailing a physical check, which took, 7 to 10 days.
Right. Instant versus waiting a week. That's a 10x improvement in speed. Got it. So proprietary tech, 10x better. What's number 2?
Number 2, network effects. This is when a product becomes inherently more useful the more people use it. Think social networks, marketplaces.
Like Facebook or eBay, the more users, the better the experience for everyone.
Exactly. But here's the critical point the sources make. To build strong network effects, you usually have to start with an especially small niche market. You can't launch to everyone at once.
Why small? That seems counterintuitive for network effects.
Because you need to reach critical mass within that initial niche. You need density. Facebook didn't launch to the world. They started only with Harvard students, dominated that small network first, got the product sticky, got the density, and then they expanded outwards, step by step, to other colleges, then high schools, then everyone. You need that initial concentration.
Okay, small and dense first. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Third characteristic.
Third is economies of scale. The business should get inherently stronger and more cost-effective as it gets bigger. Fixed costs get spread over more customers.
Right. This seems especially true for software, doesn't it? Where the cost of making one more copy is almost zero.
Absolutely. Software businesses can scale incredibly well. The marginal cost is tiny, so every additional customer adds significantly to the bottom line once fixed costs like R&D are covered.
Okay. Tech, network effects, scale. What's the 4th one?
The 4th is branding. A strong brand can be a powerful reinforcing element of a monopoly.
But isn't branding kind of superficial sometimes?
It absolutely can be just surface polish if there's no substance underneath. That's the key. A strong brand like Apple's is built on a foundation of genuinely superior proprietary technology, massive economies of scale, and powerful network effects across its ecosystem.
Right. The brand reflects the underlying reality.
Exactly. If you try to build a tech company primarily on branding alone, without those other strengths, like, remember when Yahoo tried to rebrand itself as cool again around 2012? It just didn't work because the underlying substance wasn't there anymore compared to competitors. Branding follows substance generally.
So these four things, tech, network effects, scale, brand, they work together to build that durable last mover advantage. And the strategy to get there often involves starting small.
Yes, the scaling strategy is crucial. The advice is like in chess. Study the end game before everything else. Know where you want to end up your big, dominant market position, but start by conquering a very specific small niche first.
Like Bezos with Amazon. The vision was the everything store, right? But he started only with books.
Exactly. Books were easy to catalog, easy to ship, standardized. He dominated that specific niche first. Then, he methodically expanded into adjacent categories, CDs, videos, electronics, leveraging the infrastructure and customer base he'd built, until eventually, it became the world's general store.
And PayPal did something similar.
Yeah, they didn't try to be the payment solution for everyone initially. They focused laser-like on a very small, concentrated group. The power sellers on eBay.
Ah, the high-volume eBay sellers.
Right, a group who desperately needed a better way to handle frequent online payments than checks or money orders. PayPal solved their specific pain point, dominated that niche, and then expanded out to the broader eBay user base and beyond. Start small, monopolize, then scale.
Okay, this idea of starting small and scaling deliberately, it implies a plan, design, not just luck.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
When you look at people who have built multiple transformative companies, Steve Jobs, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, it becomes harder and harder to just dismiss their success as purely luck, like they just won the lottery multiple times.
Right. The lucky sperm club idea that Warren Buffett jokes about, it feels like there's more to it. The sources suggest success is often by definite design.
Yes, but that runs counter to the prevailing cultural mood, especially in the U.S., which the sources describe as indefinite optimism.
Indefinite optimism. What does that mean exactly?
It's this general feeling that, the future will probably be better than the present, but we don't really know how it will be better, and we don't really have a concrete plan to make it better. We just kind of expect progress to happen.
And if you don't have a plan, what do you prioritize instead?
You prioritize optionality, keeping your options open. Think about how people build resumes today, collecting lots of different extracurriculars, degrees, skills.
Diversifying their personal portfolio.
Exactly. Trying to be ready for any possible future. Pursuing careers like finance or law, which are seen as flexible platforms. But the downside is, if you're optimizing for everything, you might not be committing deeply enough to anything in particular. It's a fundamentally passive and maybe even unsustainable way to approach building the future.
So what's the alternative? The path to 0 to 1?
That requires definite optimism. This is the strong belief that the future can and will be better, but only if we plan it and actively work to make it better.
Yeah.
It requires conviction and specific goals.
Like big, ambitious projects from the past.
Precisely. Think about the U.S. maybe before the 1970s. The Manhattan Project, the Interstate Highway System, the Apollo program. These weren't vague hopes. They were huge, definite, concrete plans to achieve specific, ambitious goals. That's definite optimism in action.
Okay. So to pursue that definite path, you need more than just optimism. You need ideas, a direction.
You need to believe in secrets. You have to reject this kind of modern despair that maybe everything important has already been discovered or invented, that there are no frontiers left.
Like the Unabomber's manifesto, basically. That technology had solved all the easy problems and only hard, maybe unsolvable ones remained.
Right. You have to reject that. You have to believe that there are still important truths out there, secrets that are unknown right now, but are solvable. Hard, yes, but discoverable.
Secrets? What kind of secrets are we talking about?
The sources categorize them into two main types. First, secrets of nature. These are like undiscovered physical laws, new scientific principles, things about the natural world we don't yet understand.
Okay, like finding a cure for cancer or developing cold fusion. Big science secrets.
Exactly. And second, there are secrets about people. Things people don't know about themselves, or things they know but try to hide, or untapped potential in human behavior.
Secrets about people? Like what?
Well, think about companies like Airbnb or Uber. Their success came from uncovering a secret about people, that there was this huge untapped supply of lodging, spare rooms, and transportation, personal cars and driver time, and a huge unaddressed demand for it, all hidden in plain sight.
Right. People didn't really know they wanted to rent out their couch or drive strangers around until the platform made it easy and trustworthy.
Exactly. The secret was about latent supply and demand in existing human behavior and assets.
So how do you find these secrets, whether about nature or people?
The key is often to look where nobody else is looking, to explore unconventional fields or ask questions that seem weird or overlooked by established institutions.
Like the example given about human nutrition.
Yeah, that's a fascinating example. It's a field everyone cares deeply about: what should we eat? Yet it seems to lack rigorous, standardized, large-scale institutional research compared to other fields. It feels like it's full of fads and conflicting advice.
So it might be ripe for secrets just because it's been relatively neglected by systematic inquiry?
Potentially, yes. The point is, secrets are often found off the beaten path, and once you believe you found one, a truly great company becomes, in a sense, a conspiracy built around that secret, a conspiracy to change the world based on this hidden truth.
A conspiracy? That sounds dramatic.
Maybe, but the core idea is that you can't tell everyone your secret initially. You need to know who to share it with, your co-conspirators, your founding team.
Ah, okay. Which brings us to the importance of the very beginning, foundational alignment. There's even a Thiel's law about this.
Yes, it's considered that critical. The idea is
Right.
a startup messed up at its foundation right at the very beginning cannot be fixed later on. Those initial decisions echo forever.
So what are the absolutely critical early decisions you have to get right?
First and foremost, the co-founders. It's like a marriage, maybe even more intense. They absolutely must share a prehistory, know each other well, trust each other implicitly, and be deeply aligned on the vision and values. Founder conflict can kill a company faster than almost anything else.
Okay. Get the founding team right. What else?
The board of directors. Less is definitely more here, especially early on. For a private company, the ideal board size is probably 3 members, never more than 5,
3. That seems tiny. Why so small?
to maintain focus, speed, and alignment. Larger boards get bureaucratic, slow down decision-making, and can become fragmented with differing agendas. A small, committed board is much more effective for an early-stage company.
Got it. Founders, board. What about money, compensation?
This is another critical alignment piece. The courses argue very strongly that for early-stage, venture-backed startups, cash should not be king for the founders and executives. Specifically, the CEO's salary should be modest.
How modest? Is there a number?
The guideline suggested is no more than $150,000 per year.
150 galas. For a CEO of a potentially high-growth startup, that sounds low.
It sounds low compared to corporate salaries, yes, but it's very intentional. The purpose is to ensure that the CEO, and by extension the whole team, is maximally focused on creating long-term equity value, not on maximizing their short-term cash compensation.
Ah, so it lines incentives. If most of their potential wealth is tied up in the company's future success, equity, they'll make decisions for the long haul.
Precisely. It keeps everyone focused on building something enduring, on making that 0-to-1 vision a reality, because that's where the real payoff lies. Getting these foundational elements, people, board, incentives right, is absolutely paramount. It's the only way to build a company that doesn't just create something new, but actually last long enough to capture the value from it. Hashtag outro. So we pull it all together, Leonard. What really stands out from this deep dive is, I think, the sheer power of deliberately rejecting conventional wisdom, shunning competition, actively seeking a definite monopoly in a niche, and really embracing long-term definite design. That seems to be the path to truly transformative success.
Yeah, it's a very different way of thinking than we're usually taught. And this framework, it doesn't just apply to companies, does it? It applies directly to you, to your own life and career.
Absolutely. If you think of every individual as an unavoidable investor, you're investing your time, your talent, your energy somewhere, then just relying on that indefinite optimism, just trying to keep all your options open forever.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a strategy for mediocrity, isn't it?
Diversification might work okay for a broad stock portfolio, maybe, but it rarely leads to standout success for a single human being's career or contribution. You can't be great at everything.
Right. So the challenge for you listening to this is maybe to stop trying to be omnicompetent. Stop just reacting to circumstances or relying on luck or just following the crowd into competitive arenas.
And instead?
Instead, commit. Find that singular, valuable thing, that potential secret, that 0-to-1 contribution that you are uniquely positioned to make happen, and then focus your energy on building it. Develop a definite plan for your own future.
It really comes down to agency, doesn't it? Taking control, which leads perfectly into that final, really provocative, contrarian belief for your own life.
You are not a lottery ticket.